and welcome to PodTox Episode 12. Up here we have Marie, and down here we have Sober Barbie. Krista is your real name, right?
Hmm.
There we go. So today we're going to be talking about Krista's story. We're going to get into her childhood, what led to her addiction, what she's doing now to kind of help people and help herself. So we want to start off by just keeping it simple, talk about the beginning. What was your home life growing up? What was your situation with your parents? What all led to where you are now?
Well, I just turned 37, so I'm not young and I'm midlife. I was raised Catholic, a great family. My parents are still married to this day. Um, I grew up in the Catholic Church, sports, that I look back, like I had a perfect childhood, but now as I get older, I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my God, I did have little traumatic experiences here and there, like any other person. But I always had that little feeling of needing to fit in. I always wanted to be like somebody else, like a friend. I'd like copy her wardrobe or like little things. I'm the oldest out of five too. So I
Oh,
didn't really have an
wow.
older sibling to like look up to it was me. And then my sister's 18 months younger than me. So we were really super close, but we had our little iffy spots in high school because we were in different grades and stuff. But my childhood was great, except I didn't recognize this till I went to treatment, obviously. So I'm just trekking along, living my great little life. And I grew up on a resort island. It's almost like Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. It's touristy, very like they thrive off tourists. It's got a lot of money, a lot of money. These kids have Mercedes in high school, at the public school. Like it's money. And plus it's an old retirement home living like Sun City, Del Webb, Sun City. It's like a whole old older community too. So, and golf community. Drinking goes hand in hand with golf and the beach. So it was almost like it was just normal. Like we start drinking. I started drink. My first drink was 14 years old, and I loved the feeling and the warm fuzzy feeling. And I just thought everyone else is drinking. It's fun. This is what you do. So I graduated high school early. I went straight to college. I went to college here, so I still could do my life and whatever, but I was not doing the college experience. I was like in this like drinking every night type party lifestyle, but it wasn't with college kids. Like, and then the day I turned 21, oh, and I've been in food and beverage my whole life. So the day I turned 21, they were like, you want to bartend? And I'm like, yeah. My 21st birthday is where I learned how to pour a drink. So that was kind of like the catalyst to start my 20s off because my 20s were hardcore. I got sober at 29. So I was a violent drunk. I would beat up my boyfriends. I don't know. I like wanted to hurt the ones I love. I had this deep anger issue. I couldn't figure it out, but it did run in my family. And my mom would, and when I was younger, me and my dad would butt heads, and I had an anger issue. I'm the oldest of five kids. Like, and my youngest brother, I was 14 when he was born.
Since you were the oldest and you had all those, brothers and sisters that you had to look out for, and they were growing up in the same space, were you one of those older sisters that was like, no, you can't drink, and then turn around and go have a drink?
Kinda, but my younger sister, she was right with me. And
Yeah.
she was like the one giving me the drinks. Because
Got
I
you.
did all through middle school, I did go to a Christian school. And they were like a lot worse over there. Like they were doing worse stuff. And I got in my fair share of trouble with boys, not drugs, not drugs or alcohol. And I ended up getting kicked out of there. And so did my sister for like talking about like stuff with boys. It was intense, but she was like the leader of the pack in a way, and I wanted to fit in. The younger sister, she's 6 years younger. I was that way with her, and then my brothers, I missed that whole. I was checked out drinking during their growing up, and I regret that, and I feel like they still kind of resent me for it. But time, time heals all wounds.
Absolutely.
Was there anybody throughout this whole span? I mean, it's such a weird dynamic, the area you're in. Was there anybody to kind of guide you away from that and lead you into something better, or it just everybody was in that space?
Everybody was in the space, and I had the mindset of rehab and AA was like cult, like no, I don't need freaking like I had a bad representation of what rehab was. I didn't know. I didn't know. I like it was actually a place you go and change your life. And actually, I don't know if you guys follow the Alec Murdaugh murder trial. He killed his wife. He's a lawyer, and he
Yes,
killed his wife and
that was
son.
your attorney.
Well, his co-conspirator, he's in prison. He's in federal prison right now. Corey Fleming got me out of a lot. He's the one who got me out of a lot of trouble, but he also was the first person to tell me you should go to rehab. And I like actually kind of considered it, but he planted the seed.
So I remember your video going back through everything where like I think it was your first big one where you talked about what happened that one night because you were struggling with booze and Xans and all that stuff. And I mean, you said it, you beat up your exes.
Yeah.
So what all happened with that? I mean, you stabbed your ex in the arm and
So we were newly dating. I had just gone through a really bad breakup. He moved out while I was at work. Like I was heartbroken. And when I was in, I'm a material, like I go through, I'm in relationships all the time and I'm a good girlfriend. Like I've, large chunks of my life are with one person and I curb my drinking. I mean, I try to, but I would not, when I was in a relationship, I wouldn't take Xanax because I knew what that would do. But we'd go out and they'd be like, don't take shots, Krista. You're not drinking shots tonight because you get mean
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. But I'd end up getting them somehow, some way. But I just gone through this breakup. And so I was going hardcore. I was in whatever, let's party. And I lived by myself and I had this great house and I didn't have to pay rent. It was my dad's house and it had a pool table. And I was party central, bartending and whatever. And I met Brian, and we actually have known each other through the years. And we were partying together. Like I did, we weren't like official. We were official, but we were still partying hardcore, doing all the things. But one night, my a friend of mine asked me to go to an AA meeting. They were court ordered to it, and I was like, oh, I don't want what an AA meeting. And she's like, I'll give you Xanax, and I was
Yeah,
like, okay.
right. Hey, that would have gotten me to the meeting for
Wait,
sure.
wait. When we on the way, can we stop and get some Mike's Hard Lemonade? Because I can't just take Xanax. That was my
Right.
mindset. My mindset on the way to AA meeting. And mind you, when they got there, they gave Brian a Xanax bar as well, but he stayed home. So he was doing his thing while we were gone for that hour or so. And then my bits and pieces have come back, especially this year, because I like. And my sister said it was basically I was pissed my first love, my ex was happily in a relationship. And I just was pissed. And I'm texting him like sending him selfies like, don't I look better? Like that was not me. That's Xana. Like, and I'm in a relationship. I'm
Yes.
going home to my boyfriend right now. Like, what? And I get home and I'm like doing this in front of him and he's not having it. So he grabs my phone, breaks it. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. And this is where it blacks out and I don't know, but I found a golf club and broke it over my knee. And the sharp part, I hit him in the wrist, hit a main artery. They said there was so much blood. Like
Wow.
a trail blood, and he thought instantly he was going to get in trouble. So when I ran to go call 911, he hid. Then there was a trail of blood to find, but he made sure he like the paramedics told me he sprayed me so it looked like I was bad. I got in trouble too. Like the blood was all.
Wow.
And then I went and called 911. They came and got me, took me to the ER, and we're gonna have to like almost lifestar fly him because of the wrist. And he ended up at the same emergency room as me. And I'm like wandering the hall. The halls, like, where's Brian? And he still loves me. He still loves me. And I'm telling the police what happened. And I got him to write me a prescription for Ultramp for my teeth while I'm getting stitched up. He got me the Corona bottle. So I don't know if you can see it, but I got some stitches right there. And
Yep.
so I get to go, I'm leaving. It's like 2 a.m. and they handcuff me right then and there. And then I try to run in the parking lot. I try to run, and Brian's in an ambulance, and they're about to take him to. We're by Savannah, Georgia, and that's a big medical area too. 30 minutes, so they're about to take him there to get a special surgery or whatever. And then I went to jail.
So you're in the police car, you're in that fight or flight mode, because I've been there 1,000 times before, where you're like, oh my God, like you know that you're about to go detox. You're right. How did you handle the detoxes though in jail? Did they give you medication?
No, and I don't think they do that around here. We're big fans of the show 60 Days In, if y'all are familiar with that, where they plant people in the jail. And we've just noticed how different jails are different. Like some offer like MAT drugs, and like it's just wild. But
That's
they're
recent
so
though.
strict
That's
here.
within the past few years.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really talked to anyone who's been back since recently. But so withdrawals, I never really noticed them because I was in this like party. I feel like that's the difference between like my husband and my addiction, because there is kind of a big difference between alcoholism and then the like heroin addiction. Like it's a deeper level. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. But withdrawals, I don't know. I just always felt like I needed something to alter me.
So you didn't feel sick coming off of the
I did a
benzos?
little bit.
Did you have like twitches, jerks, myoclonic jerks?
My eyes were acting weird. And I thought I needed glasses, but it could have been the lighting, because they're like the high school light, like school lighting, fluorescent lights. But I tried to get glasses in there, and they were like, ma'am, this is not the time to like get your eyes checked.
You're like, can I get my hair cut? Can I get my hair curled?
Also, I wasn't taking my antidepressant Celexa. So that was where a lot of the withdrawals were happening. And then my mom got it to me in there.
Did you go through this phase where you were in fear that your boyfriend could have been in worse condition? Like, was somebody letting you know what was going on with him? Because you could have got charged for attempted murder.
Absolutely. He actually answered every call from me.
Wow.
Even that day, even in booking. And he was letting me know. And mind you, while this was happening, he was going deep in his addiction that I had no idea he had. So
wow.
I'm sure he felt great.
Was his drug of choice alcohol as well, because he had hit you with the Corona bottle?
He would joke around that he was a trash can junkie, because he would do anything.
Okay.
Anything. And like my husband, like he was very determined it was one certain drug, like, and he had to do it a certain way. And it was like, he was very discriminate towards the drugs.
Yes, very ritualistic almost.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up, even though you liked the booze and the Xans more, you had those points, because I was kind of the same way, where I would get big into drinking and then get big into like cola or something, and I do both of them at the same time, or some pills too, but it wasn't something that I had to do any of it every single day, because it would switch up so much. So you didn't actually end up getting dependent for the most part on that stuff. It was kind of just everywhere.
Yeah. I'm sure, because I didn't even know what opioid withdrawals or any of that was. Like my parents are like good Connecticut little family that moved down south when I was 6, and they partied. They had their fair share of being young, but they were oblivious to what was out there or all that. And watching the addicts I love go through these withdrawals, like I had no idea. So I'm sure I went through like a little dope sick here and there if I took pain pills for 2 weeks straight or whatever. But Xanax was my like.
Did you feel like you had like an alter ego? I know I've talked to you about this before.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I was a thief. I could never. My sister who's close in age, Katie, she loved stealing growing up. Like she got like a high off of it, like a little klepto. And I was always with her, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't. And it literally like made me sick to my stomach while she was doing it. Like I'm not that person. And I was like, I literally was somebody I don't even
different.
know. Yeah.
That's how I was as well, where it was like a whole nother person took over. Like I even had a name for her.
Yeah. I got caught going through the dope man's pockets while he was sleeping one night.
You got to do what you got to do, girl.
And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking for Xanax." He was like, get the fuck out of my pockets. Like,
Yeah.
Did you ever get caught up for any of that, or?
oh, all my charges, my past is all criminal domestic violence and a couple
Wow.
alcohol charges.
So the
And
alcohol really
driving under.
altered your personality because you're completely different now. Like,
It still surprises me to this day. Like, and my sister threw this pumpkin paint party the other night. It was all girls, and there was some hardcore drinking there. I mean, these were moms letting loose. They know the
yeah.
difference. Like, if that was me back, I wouldn't be able to differentiate being a mom and turning that off to go party and then turning it back off to be a mom again in the morning. Like, I watched these girls 8 o'clock. We were up till 2 a.m. and 8 o'clock, and they're out softball. They're doing like whatever. And I'm just like, I couldn't do that. There was no way I.
A lot of that's probably because as you were growing up and you were learning all this stuff, you didn't have that off switch. It just kept on going anyways.
Always,
Yeah.
always party.
So you were in jail for about 30 days, correct?
31 to be exact. So it was a deal. I'm very blessed. I'm so blessed to have a family that, I mean, there was a little enabling growing up and going through this, but they didn't know. But they did give me tough love. In the first week, my mom's my best friend. She didn't talk to me the first week. I was talking to Brian. I cried every phone call. I cried. I cried so hard in jail. Oh my God, that's where Barbie came from. And they're like, Barbie's crying again. Like, and she gave me such tough love and then helped me, made a deal and said, I'll sell your car. I'll sell all your shit. We'll help you get into treatment. And she lined it up. She goes, but you have to sit there for 30 days. So at least I had a plan, you know?
And mentally, it probably helped you to know there was an end in sight.
I
Like
think
you could count down.
Yeah, I think that's with everything in life. If you want to stop something, like I remember reading when I wanted to quit smoking, read the Nicorette book, like read the book that comes with it. They give you tips on how to do it. And they're like, pick a day 2 weeks ahead, like plan that's in your head. It's like a mental part.
Yes.
For sure.
Did you see anything crazy whenever you were locked up? Like what was that like?
So my cellmate killed someone in a DUI. She was awesome though. She introduced me to AA. She took me under her wing. She was a little older than me. She had been there a year already because she said she didn't want to bond. She just wanted to get her time over with. She had a lot. She was guilty. And then the girl next to us, our neighbor, took her baby daddy out, and she would give me things like pajama pants and snacks and like but people were kind, but there was a lot of like funny crazy fights. My last day they fought a guard, and I was like, oh my. And then if you come in red, you're like a threat to people, and there was like so many people in red, and there was like people who their kids and their partner. It was wild.
It makes you think like, how did I land myself here? How did I let my life get to this?
For the 8th time. And
Yeah.
my bond was 25 grand. And I'm like,
And you had how much time hanging over your head?
20 years. It was one under attempted murder.
Did any of your siblings have the same kind of addiction issues, or were they able to cross that line because they saw you, or?
A work in progress.
Okay.
My brothers are still really young, but they're good. I really think they all are learning from my example. I really do. And that's like bottom line, the way you help someone is lead by example, because you can't make anyone do anything.
So after all this, you went to rehab, and was it a good experience? It always gets weird whenever you talk about rehab centers. Was it one of those like legit places that they were actually trying to help people, or was it one of those we're trying to help people?
From the looks of it, when we pulled up, it looked like a trap house. And then this young, I mean, I think she is younger than me, greets us with her hat on backwards. It was Labor Day weekend. They were about to be off for the weekend. And the guy's side was way more organized. For some reason, there's always more men in these treatment centers and jails.
You're right.
But they had about 15 to 20 girls. It was two little houses and like an office that they just bought. They were leasing this little lot, and it was upstate South Carolina, like country kind of. Not, it had a little downtown and stuff, Greenwood, South Carolina, right outside Greenville. And we go in, and she's telling us what's going on. And I was ready, like though, but I was ready for the knowledge. I was 30 days sober going into this. So a lot of these people go in withdrawing. I was nervous. My mom, like when we had trips growing up for school, my parents came. Like they came with me. Like I've never done anything really on my own. And so she was leaving me. She was freaking leaving me. And I just met the bondsman, went to Walmart. I didn't go home. I didn't have any of my clothes. We literally bought a couple outfits at Walmart. She hooked me up with all the, you know, hairs. I
Toiletries,
had
essentials.
in 30 days, like, because those razors are I wasn't messing with those razors in jail. No, I'll wait. I'll wait. But anyways, my mom said that vision never got out of her face, my leg hair. But anyways, the people were so comforting because the staff left. It was like 6 o'clock at night because I bonded out that day. I had to take the 3-hour drive with her. And they took me to get ice cream, and we smoked cigarettes and drank energy drinks and coffee and talked. And
hey, Red Bull and cigarettes is like the detox halfway house life.
And I'm little Krista from Hilton Head Island that's never really seen. I've never seen heroin. I've never seen real drugs or heard stories. And these people are telling me these. They had me watch Requiem for a Dream. Day. And the lady came in the next day and broke the CD and was like, "Don't you let newcomers watch that." And I had never. So I think that helped me go, I'm never going to have to go through this again.
So did they have a blackout period at the center where you were not allowed to call anyone? So you were not reaching out to your boyfriend at that time?
2 weeks. I could write letters and I could receive letters. And that 13th day, I got letters from Brian finally.
I knew it.
That was so bad. So bad. Oh, that was the worst 2 weeks. Like, I don't know. But writing helps so much when you're in that position and you can't get your point across. Just writing it out is so therapeutic.
I've had a couple of people do a similar thing where it was they got in trouble and that's what led to them going to jail and then going to rehab and all that. And it didn't stick the same way it does for somebody who hit like that really low point.
That reminds me of the Jelly Roll song. You know what I'm saying? Like a jailhouse prayer.
Yes.
Almost you're doing it just, and you're praying in jail just to get out. And then you go back and you live that.
Yep.
I've always had God. You would say Christian. I believe in God. I was raised Catholic in the strict. It almost turned me away. That I went to a Christian school. Like, it was like pushy. But I've always had, and my mom's very spiritual. Her brother passed away before I was born. And like, it was the spirituality of it all that just, in jail, I prayed every day and it was working.
In jail, did you start going to AA meetings and then did you continue that throughout your treatment?
I did all the things in jail they offer you. I was there signing me up.
What made you gravitate towards AA? Did you feel like these are my people?
I started because I didn't go to an AA meeting first. I was given the book first.
Okay.
I just related to it. Like, oh my God, I'm reading what? I do have a problem. Like, what? There is something wrong there. This is me.
While you were going through all this too, where was your boyfriend? What happened with him?
So I went to treatment. He would visit me. He was living another lifestyle. When he ended up getting sober, in his amends, he told me all the things, and he was like overdosing in his dad's front yard. Like, there were so many bad little situations that were happening. And I remember because I went Labor Day weekend treatment, 4-month program. So I finished right before Christmas. Okay. And then I ended up staying an extra month. It was the deal. They let me commence like 5 days before my 4 months so I could go home. I wanted to go home for Christmas. So they let me go home for a week. They're like, but you should come back and stay an extra month and live in transition. So I did. I mean, I did. And I had a job up there and everything. And I'm really grateful I did that. But Thanksgiving Day, I'll never forget, Brian calls me and he's like, I'm going to treatment. And I go, what?
Wow.
You're what? And he tells me he's a heroin addict and he overdosed and he got with the foundation and they were sending him to Prescott, Arizona. That's a recovery hub up there, what I've learned through his journey. But it didn't work out there. He did get sober. I mean, every time you go try, you're getting knowledge. There's stuff going in there. And I heard the quote the other day, there's nothing like having a head full of A and an arm full of dope. Like what? Like knowing you can get out of this. You just got to face it. But he came back. I went home after treatment January, February, and he came back like that March. And then we got together and we started our life and he relapsed a few times. But then he got sober. He ended up staying sober till the end of his life.
Were
So
you struggling whenever, I mean, I know it was different substances, but whenever he would relapse, did you struggle like just seeing somebody else that was enjoying it and you weren't?
that's the hardest part, I think. Like you're sitting here feeling it, all of it, and they're just numbing away. But then you think the next, like right after that good feeling goes
The
away,
regret.
they're feeling the hell they're in. But still, we're instant gratification people. We like that instant feeling of everything and just watching them in the moment. And today too, like I have people in my life that are struggling, like it's hard to watch.
What happened with him? So you guys were together.
We got back, we ended up living in like a hotel trying to save up and try, like it was just tough to find a place. We're convicted felons, we're
Absolutely.
all that, and my father helped. Well, we just went through Hurricane Matthew and it took out our island almost. And so we were helping, my dad let us move in to the house I stabbed Ryan in and fix it up because of the flooding. And then he got us a loft apartment to take over the lease, and we worked for him. He paid for it for us and we were set. We had this great little life. Brian relapsed and he was on his way to go get more stuff. And his boss was my dad's a big builder here, and his boss was one of my dad's like colleagues type deal. And I messaged the boss and I said, do not give him his paycheck because what he's going to go do with it.
Yeah.
Oh, he was mad. He was mad, and
Oh,
he's
I'm
in
sure.
full I didn't recognize withdrawals and stuff really, and he's in full like anger. Like he's doing whatever he can to get to that. And we lived by a gas station. I followed him up to the gas station in my car and I got out and I'm yelling at him at the pump and he's in his truck and he grabs me and starts to drive off with me. And there's people everywhere. It's broad daylight. And he lets go. I call 911. Like, no. People are like, are you okay? I call 911 and I'm chasing him. We're going like 100 miles. And I literally hit the back of his truck. I was so mad. So mad. So and the day before I stopped him from doing this and he jumped off the hood of my car and broke both his heels. So
What?
he can't walk. He broke both his heels. He had no shoes on. He jumped off the hood of my car. So, and he went to the emergency room that night to try to get some meds and jumps, breaks the heels. So he's got that. He gets arrested after this little altercation and goes to jail with the broken heels. And you know what I do? I pull, my mom's name's Debbie. I pull a Debbie. You're sitting there for 30 days. You're sitting there for 30 days, dude. You have a problem. You know what to do. He did all the work in there. He did all the recovery work. Like he knew what he needed. He had been to treatment before. He obviously, and he had been to treatment before we met. And 30 days he gets out and he was sober. And then this was like the summer. So October rolls around. His birthday's October 2nd. He's a builder. October 9th, he goes to work. I'm at work bartending. I get a call. He fell off the roof. I talked to him for a second. He's like, babe, I'm really hurt. His boss is like, I think he broke his arm. I don't know. And he was about 45 minutes away at another hospital. My job was so short staffed, I could not leave. Like, and I didn't think it was that bad. And his mom, I called his mom. She went there and was with him right away. They put him in like the induced in coma to, because he ruptured his spleen for emergency surgery. So something happened. His heart stopped for an hour and 15 minutes, and they were scared of brain damage and all that. So we get there the next morning. This happened at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, the code red or what code, whatever. And we get there and the doctor sits down. He's got this like mustache like this, and he sits in the chair and he goes like this. I don't think he's gonna wake up. Like, he was just like so like
Blase.
It was weird because we had high hopes. We didn't think he was gonna freaking die. Like,
Right.
oh my God. And then he was on life support. Everything was like open. He had stuff like he had a big cast on him, tubes, and I literally was there every day for 3 days. So the 9th, he died on the 12th episode, y'all. The 12th. That's my 12th. So it was just they were like, he could live forever, but he'll never have brain activity. Like, he was giving me like high hopes and then crushing them. And it was like the most worst like bedside manner. Anyways, the 12th at 12:30, I held his hand for his last breath, and it's different because like with tragedy, they die instantly, like, or if they have cancer, you kind of know it's inevitable. But 3 days, and I went home to our house, and I went home to his dirty clothes on the freaking floor and his dirty dishes, and he wasn't a dipper, but he would spit in bottles. I don't know. It was, I guess, hawk loogies or whatever. And like those were just randomly around the house, like just like all the little things. And then he wasn't really too close to his family. His brother he was, but it was just, we were engaged. We were planning a future, and I don't know. And then with Matt Perry dying yesterday, it makes me think of, it's like, Brian, like, you got your shit together. You did the work, and you don't even get to enjoy it.
How did you handle hearing such tragic news? How long were you sober at that point?
2 years.
How did you handle that? Because that's a lot to handle.
Can't believe I didn't drink. Like, but I would say, like, if I was drunk right now, I'd probably try to eat his ashes. Like, I would have probably got really weird, like really, really weird. But I'm glad you asked that, because my mom, 2 years before she met my dad, lost her brother and her fiance in a car crash. They were
Wow.
together. They were best friends. And they were racing. He had a Trans Am, and he was racing another car past a trailer truck, and flipped over the guardrail. And it's like she went through that to like without her, I probably
So
was
that she could help guide you through your trauma.
absolutely. And
That's
we
amazing.
were raised knowing Uncle Joey's part of us, and Doug was her fiance. Like, I knew this story my whole life. I don't know. It was just, I think it's
Wow.
definitely her. I owe it to her.
Fast forward, so you're going through all this, and how long between like grieving him and trying to, did you end up meeting Bubba?
He's the star quarterback of my high school.
I
I
remember
always
that.
had a crush on him. He's 2 years older than me. His best friend in high school was like my first boyfriend. So we were in the same, I didn't date him for long, but we hung out in the same group for a long time. Through our 20s, we had some flings here and there. I forgot to mention that Brian went to rehab twice. So he went back to treatment and before the whole jail incident. And I kind of had ended it with him. I was over it. I was over the addict behavior. I was ready to leave. And me and Bubba, while Brian's like sobering up, I had like a little thing with Bubba at the time too. But then I went and saw Brian sober and he amends, and he proposed to me. And but Bubba So right after Brian died, he reached out to me. He knew Brian. He reached out to me. I think he was in a relationship at the time. But a few months go by, he got in a little trouble and went to jail. And then the day he got out of jail, it was like June 22nd, 2018, June. He called me and he told the guy he was living with, we had a date, and he said, I don't think I'm coming home, like, ever. And he never went home. He stayed with me. We met up at a pizza place, and I was about to move out of my apartment. I had 2 weeks left in my lease, and he helped me move, and I said, please don't leave. And he stayed, and that's when I found his addiction.
Did you ever feel like now looking back, you've had like a codependency issue, like throughout your life, always wanting that attention from like males?
Yeah, because I have a great dad. Like, why did I always pick these project pieces?
Yeah.
What? I don't think I have daddy issues, but now that I look at it, we did butt heads a lot, and we are a lot alike, and I think we lacked a lot of communication, me and my dad, and we're not really close today, and I wish we were. I really do, but I think time will heal.
I was gonna ask about that because you this whole time you've been talking about your mom being there, and where was your dad? Like, how did he feel about, sorry to back up a little bit, but how did he feel about all of this?
He's old school. He's traditional.
Right.
He's don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I think that's why he's not really excited that I'm out here telling my worst days to the public. But I think he'll start to get it. I think he's starting to get it a little bit. And he sat back. He was supportive. He was happy I was getting help. He tells me congratulations on my big days, and he thinks it's cool. And I don't know. I think he's trying to learn how to approach me now because, I don't know.
And he probably always thought that the men that you chose were like,
Why, Krista?
right, like, what
Why?
is she doing?
Why? Why can't you get the quarterback? Not when he's through addiction and stuff.
Right, right.
I got
So
him.
you met Bubba,
Yep.
and how did that go for you? Like,
I was smitten. He accepted. He knew everything I went through. He knew the pain. He watched me grieve. He was there for me. He let me talk about it. He was just there for me. Oh, like, just so comforting, and he wanted to support me, and I don't know, we created this like teamwork, and we moved out of a different town when I had moved out of that lease. We moved to Savannah. So we were in a different area. I think that helped us get closer without all the extra people we know.
So how long were you guys together before you realized that he had an issue?
Like a month.
And how did you handle that you
And I
were
didn't
sober,
know.
you met somebody living in your household that you love and care for, and you just lost somebody? I would be on the edge.
I feel like he wanted me to see it because it was in his cellophane cigarette pack, a white powder. Like, I feel like he wanted me to see it. Like, why wouldn't you hide it more? I got so mad, and I said, flush it. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know he used the
Yeah.
things and stuff. Like, I didn't know it was all that. I really didn't. I thought maybe you snorting pain pills. And he flushed it in front of me. And I
Wow.
believed him. I believed every word out of his mouth. I was so naive.
Your addiction was very different though because it was that party lifestyle. I explain that to a lot of people because a lot of people get so worried that, oh my gosh, I'm addicted, I'm out partying every night. That is very different because a lot of people end up doing that and they experiment and they do all this stuff. And the people that latch on to something, that's whenever it gets really, really weird. And some people just never latch on, and
Yeah.
it's easier, I guess.
Did you start to notice, like, wow, like the money ain't what the money was a few months ago, or like just certain things with his outer appearance, and was he sleeping more? Did you see these signs?
So in the beginning, it was a money thing. He was working, I was working, but then It was known he needed this to get through the day or he was
Right.
going to be sick. He couldn't
Right.
go to work. What do we do? We tried
Yep.
to trade him. I mean, we tried everything. And we didn't try MAT yet. It wasn't even, I don't even know if we knew that was an option. I
Okay.
think, I think he knew. He knew, but he wasn't going to like offer that. Like, look, I don't think he was ready to stop
Right.
yet. So he wasn't. And then it came to the point where I was working 12 hours. We had no kids at this point. He does. He has kids. They live with their moms. But at this point, I have no kids. And I was going to work bartending 12 hours a day. And as soon as I made enough money for his pill, he'd come get it just so he could get on with his day. Like I
I
was
remember those days, right, Kyle? I'm sure you do.
He sent me hours out of the way to the dope man's house. Oh, the scariest thing. I remember one time they didn't answer the door. It was 3 in the morning because I bartended and I was
Yep.
late. And it was 3 in the morning and no one was answering. I'm like, what if someone came in and knocked them all, took their stash and ended them all, and there's someone waiting for like there. It was he put me in some really shady situations. And then there were times where I actually had to sit there. We'd drive and I'd have to watch him do it, the whole process of it.
So two things, because I didn't realize one, you were bartending at the same time. Like, so you were bartending while you were in recovery.
Oh yeah.
I bartended for a long time. That's what I was doing when I went to rehab.
I served in rehab, but when I came home, I picked bartending up again.
More money.
How has that like affected anything? Because I've always thought about going back to that. I don't think I would now, but I had in the beginning, and I don't know how that would have gone.
I was very blessed again. The restaurant I went to when I came home from treatment, he was in recovery, the owner. And he's a very good chef. Oh my gosh. And like he worked in New York, like big award
Bougie.
stuff, like big awards, like Michelin star, like big stuff. And he was into craft cocktailing, but he was not drinking. AA, like all that. And he took me under his wing and taught me the art of craft cocktailing. I can actually put a drink in my mouth and spit it right out. Like taste it because I'm not going to put out a $20 drink if it tastes like crap. But I would not taste like straight liquor or wine. I wasn't doing wine tastings or any of that. It was literally, but it never went down ever. But I wasn't going to put out a crappy product. And I don't know. I know that alcohol is that's, if I can't have one sip.
It's poison to
I
you.
can't. I literally can't. I will be in jail.
I did the
I'm
exact
beating
same
Bubba
thing.
up.
It was craft cocktails. The guy that trained me, he was from San Francisco and was like big into that and taught me everything.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Fresh juices and,
Oh yeah,
all that. Yeah.
have to have the homemade simple syrup, all the
Yeah.
actual juice. Yeah. How, whenever you were doing all this, obviously you had things accessible then too. How are you handling taking care of an addict? Because on top of regular life, that's a lot. Like just dealing with an addict when you know what is happening. Like what made you stay? What what helped?
It's really hard to go be a server or a bartender having home issues.
Hmm.
Like people come to see Krista. They want to have a good time. And I'm literally focused on my phone, like
Yep.
worried.
Checked out. You were checked out.
I remember one time I was on my way to work and Bubba was staying home and I was halfway down the road and I looked, dude's behind me. He snuck out like he was gonna go do something bad while like, it consumed me. But I don't know. I feel like my parents being still together has always been my drive to not give up when things get hard.
And then
I,
the fact that he helped you when you were in he was there in your time of need. That
yeah,
is trauma. And I
yeah.
feel like it could be a good kind of trauma bond thing for you almost, that you want to look out for him, that you want to be there for him.
Yeah, and also I was blessed with this great family. My mom taught me the most amazing my parents taught me amazing values, and I always want to go. Bubba's worth when he's sober, he's like my dad, the work ethic and all that. Like they
I
say,
love
you
that.
should someone like your dad. And I don't know, I just always no matter what, he cared about his kids and he cared about work. Like he still made shit happen, but he broke down to me. He broke it down. He didn't hide it anymore. Like I think the hiding makes it worse, and it was almost reverse psychology where I accepted it. It was, I mean, it wasn't, don't recommend how we handled it I don't recommend the girl paying for all of it, and like that's hard to think about that we did that, but
What made him get on medicated assisted treatment?
I think my Googling. I think I Googled, like, there were times I'd come home with a fan. Let's get through, like, you're sweating. Like, I'm going to help you through kick this. Like, I'd set up a whole plan. I'd have, like, foodsy, like, Gatorade. Like, I'd Google everything on how to help someone through it. Like, I'm a
So what
researcher.
difference did you notice when you were trying to figure it all out on your own and you're checked out of your job and all that? What difference did you notice when he did get on medicated assisted treatment? Did you see Bubba coming back? Did
I
you see
did.
like the
I
person you
did.
love?
But he relapsed on that too. And I think it started with maybe abusing it more. I don't know how it started, but it started to the point where he was hoarding it and going and getting high. And I found like he was pretending to go to the clinic. And then it was to the point where I think he was getting it because he had went such a long time. He would get like a month at a time. So how long does it stay in your system? You can get it, you can do it, and then plan out that drug test. Like, okay, I got a couple day window. I'm gonna start back taking my stuff right before I go back to the clinic.
Yeah,
Or
so he was trying to figure it out
and
to play the system.
it was not Suboxone and not methadone. It's Subutex. It was like a dissolving.
Yeah.
So
No.
Subutex doesn't have the blocker in it.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
That makes
yeah,
sense why he like
that's the
used
difference.
it or
That
whatever.
right there is the difference between Suboxone and Subutex.
So something amazing happened 2 weeks before I gave birth. I gave it was 11/22/2019. We got married 11/7. We got married 2 weeks before I gave birth to my first child. That day, my check cleared for $100,000 from Brian's settlement from Workman's Comp. So what do you think Bubba did?
Went to rehab.
No, he relapsed. Like
Right, he relapsed.
while I was at the hospital giving birth.
Did he already have a child?
He has a 13-year-old and a
That's what I
14-year-old.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 13-year-old lives here and we're in her life. She's an awesome
Okay.
little girl. And then the 14-year-old, the mom took off when she was a baby and put him on child support. And she found him on TikTok though.
Did he go to rehab when he got clean?
Bubba did. Okay. So Bubba, November 27th will be 3 years. My son's birthday is the 22nd. What's ironic about all this is he literally relapsed the day Huxley was born.
Got it.
And then his first birthday, because that whole year was the hell, Huxley's first year of life was hell with
Now
Bubba.
that's when you got on TikTok, right? When he relapsed.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that's when I said I'm losing my husband to addiction.
Right.
And I got 1 million followers a million views and 16,000 followers overnight. And I said, wow. And I deleted the video. But anyways, that's this platform we're on right now. But Huxley's first birthday, the 22nd, we're at my mom's. My nephew is 5 days younger. I have another sister, and we were pregnant together. She gave birth 5 days after Huxley. And we had a first birthday together. My mom lives on the water. It was a beautiful setting. We had a theme, like Wild One, all this. He's blowing his candles out. My husband's nowhere to be found. Mind you, he's in the birthday shirt. Guess where he is? Dying in a parking lot getting Narcaned alive. Literally, as my son was blowing his first birthday candles out. So, holy crap, he's Narcan. They send him to the hospital. He calls me, and I'm mad. He's like, "You're mad? I'm at the hospital." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm mad." So, They pay an Uber and send him back to his vehicle at the gas or at McDonald's. There could
What?
be there could be drugs still there. But
Wow, smart.
he had some in his pod. I didn't learn any of this till he did his pod. We have a podcast as well, and he told his story. And I didn't learn any of this till the podcast, listening to his. But he actually had some on him, and it wasn't like enough to like. It was enough to test, but not to like charge him or whatever. But my thing is, why doesn't anyone go in and say, "Hey, here's a treatment option," or like that doesn't happen with overdoses. But anyways, he goes back to his car. The next day is when he goes to rehab for 2 weeks. He sneaks home, and then ends up on MAT some point in there. I can't remember, but he's on methadone.
And he might not have talked about this, but I was kind of in the same boat. Like whenever my daughter was born, so I left while we were still in the hospital right after she was born to go use because I ran out of stuff, and that fucked me
You
up.
had to run a lot of errands, huh?
Yeah,
Didn't you? Didn't
Right.
you? A
it
lot, a lot.
fucked me up. Like in the
Oh, I'll
head,
go
like
get the diapers. Oh,
well, and it
I'll go
was.
get it.
That's the type of stuff it was, though. It was, oh, you need me to run to the house and get you some from the house because we were in the
And you
hospital
don't
for
put
like
it.
4 days. So it just did that mess him up in any way? I'm sure the birthday thing did too, but like,
Yeah, that's something you have to live with, the PTSD of it, of what you did, and I'm
How
sure that's hard.
how did you handle that first year of being a mother, a new mother? You were never a mother to a newborn baby, feeling like abandoned by your partner, right?
Yeah, and you can't talk about it. You don't
Yeah.
talk about it. I'm
It's
not
a
gonna go tell
lonely,
everyone
it's
my
very
husband
lonely. I've been
shooting
there.
dope in the bathroom while I'm trying to nurse my baby and get him down. Like, you don't talk, or we're broke because I had to get him a pill, or before Huxley, I would starve myself to make sure he wasn't sick. Like, I wouldn't eat all day because I didn't have money, and I'd give it to, like, I cared that much.
Did
Like,
you blow through all that money? Like,
he did. No, but he redeemed himself. He is the king of redemption. So his thing was, it was like around, Huxley's born in November, so it was around Christmas time, and I kept seeing these like $82 charges, cash back, $2, buying $2 things, and then Walmart was the only place you could get the syringes without a prescription. So I knew what was up, like,
yep.
and he kept saying, "I'm getting you earrings." Gosh, you want to ruin the surprise, Krista? Like, it was like stuff like that. I'm like, God, is he really buying me? There was never an earring,
Yeah.
but things turned around right after rehab. Within his first year of sobriety, we were offered almost a loan to start a business, and it like a loan with no interest.
Wow.
And we started pressure washing business, and it's super successful. And I was out there pregnant with Baylor, like pressure washing and stuff with him, super big.
Teamwork makes the
I was
dream
like
work.
7 months pregnant when we started that business, but like, wow. And now he has way too much to lose. Like, I mean, he's got all this now. It's almost like he knows. He still goes to the clinic. They're working on the downside of it, coming off of it eventually.
If he came to you today and was like, Krista, I really can't titrate down on my dose. Like, I don't think would you be okay with him being on medicated assisted treatment the rest of his life if that's what he needed?
I would take this over anything.
Absolutely. I know.
would take being cheated on and beat over this. Like, I could not, I don't know. It's just crazy. But the thing I did want to make sure we talked about was the PTSD I have from him.
Right.
Like, I live with, like, his father just died 2 months ago, and that's all he had. His dad raised him. That's it. Him and Pop Pop. They have the same name. Like, and his dad was like a character, like complete opposite, stubborn. Like, we didn't see eye to eye a lot, but that was his That was his dad. And I was worried. He's 3 years in, but I was worried. Like, that's a
Right.
huge thing to go through.
Absolutely.
And any time you have under your belt of sobriety, like
Right.
20 years sober or whatever, I was worried. And there's a
How
lot of
did you
times
support him?
I get my gut feelings. And
Right.
I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to bring up the past. He doesn't want that. He doesn't. But I mean,
It,
it happened. It happened. And I have scars. There's like little things, like sometimes if he's too happy, I'm like, oh my God, is he high? Like, oh my God. Or if he's acting different, like that's just, I can't help it. It's my mind from what he has put me through and Brian put me through.
do you do therapy? Have you ever done therapy?
Oh, I'm 100% down. I want to find the right. I did therapy as a teenager. So I want to find the right. I'd love someone with addiction knowledge. I don't know. I'm really in touch with my feelings and my body, taking everything out of it like that, like taking the numbing away.
I
And
noticed one thing that sticks out to me about your videos. You always are barefoot, grounded on the ground. Now, I utilize grounding skills in therapy. So I really, like, I could see you being very successful with that because you're already doing some of those things. You're already planting your feet on the ground.
right, I love that. I'm an analogy girl too. So I love that. We had that party the other night. We're all in these nice cocktail dresses. I'm no shoes. My feet are dirty. Like,
Now, I have another. So, does this smell of like the marsh and all that, is that helpful for your anxiety? Because it helps me when I go near a beach.
I don't get it all the time, but there's moments where I'm like, and I don't think I've ever noticed that in my drinking days. Like I'm so in touch
Right.
with nature and like the sunsets. I never knew I loved sunsets so much. Like,
Same. Or just hearing the birds chirp in the morning. I used
I
to be
know.
like, and now I'm like, oh, the birds are chirping.
Yeah, and I just got a rooster.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Roosters as
dusted a
well.
rooster. I've like, yeah.
I feel like with Bubba, like the stuff that he has gone through is very similar to what I've gone through. I'd love to talk to him sometime.
Yes.
What
We need to
are
have him on here, but
Absolutely.
he'd probably need me to be like, he's so quiet.
I'm down. I'm
He's
down.
super
I'm
chill.
totally down. What? Because I worry about this with my wife because I feel like she has the same PTSD
Is
issues where
she
it's
is she one of us or she's normal?
she's
She's a
normal.
normie.
Yeah, and I put
Uh,
her through so much like
yeah,
the getting cash back thing. That was
she's
me.
a,
Hmm.
she's a rock star. I don't even know her, but she's stuck around.
I well, and I know I put her through stuff, and I know she probably still has times where she thinks, did he use? What's your like? I don't even know how to put this. What's your reassurance, I guess, that
Drug tests,
everything's okay?
drug tests, having them on hand, him willing to take it whenever. And we don't even use them anymore, really, but they're there, visible. Like, that's it. You pee in front of me.
Yep.
Because he used to hide pee.
Accountability for me was everything.
I need,
Knowing
I'm
that
a,
I had to pee in a cup and answer to somebody, it puts that fear in your head.
I'm a visual. I gotta see it.
Me
If
too.
actions, you could talk all this you want, but I gotta see it. And I don't know, like he quit smoking cigarettes a while ago, and I think that is really if he starts smoking again, that's when I'm gonna get worried. Because that went hand in hand with his addiction, and he had to have a cigarette while like
Yeah.
that he was very ritualistic, like you said. Like that would go and that would be like a oh my God, something's wrong.
Do you get nervous? Like when he leaves for work, like what Kyle was saying, like say Kyle leaves for work. I'm sure his wife's like, oh, well, he's not home.
That cash back charge.
Yeah.
Do you like share locations or like,
I feel like we've graduated a lot in our
I
relationship
love that.
Yeah.
because in the beginning he'll get mad at me for saying this, but he is the king of petty. When it gets down to it, he'll want to be petty back. Like, and he's great. He's learning, and I can be petty too. But I've learned to. I think having so many siblings and stuff, I've just learned to pick and choose my battles, and
Yes.
I don't like that tit for tat stuff. But we used to be like, like being passive aggressive in a text. That
Yes.
hit home for me and him. Like, yeah, YA. Not saying the whole I love you by just saying love you. Like, you're not, that's big for us. You have
Like
to
him
put the
being
I.
short with you. Like
You
if he's
have to
short.
be the I. No thumbs up. No, like that. That's like a little example of those are non-negotiables with us.
Yep.
We don't do it. And if we do one of those, like fight game on, like it's gonna be bad. And we don't even let it get to that. We just got out of a little tiff and it was, I mean, he's working all the time and I'm home with the kids and I'm cleaning when he gets home, it's hard blue collar, hard labor, and he wants to sit and relax. And I get a
You need a
little,
break.
well, toddlers, they make a mess, the same mess, 4 times,
Yep.
50 times a day. You clean it up, it's back out, it's whatever. And I just got frustrated. And I think it was a lack of communication, but this needed to happen because we got to break it down and see, like, okay, this is where I messed up and you messed up. Let's just cease it.
Does
Well,
he do AA like you?
He lives by it. He believes in all the principles and all that. Yeah. I wish we used to go to meetings together and then COVID happened when I was super pregnant and it just was and then childcare.
COVID,
We don't have a village. We have nobody to watch our kids. Like seriously.
Yeah.
So that's just it.
COVID messed a lot of meetings up because we used to do the same thing, and it just,
Yeah.
because she went to Al-Anon while I did.
I bet that was super helpful though for
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
I love that. I love that support right there.
Well, and
Oh,
so
the tear to my
people were saying in the comments, like air tags and tracking apps and all that stuff to I don't know where your partner's at. I feel like I would understand stuff like that, but at the same time, I wouldn't appreciate it, and it
You
would
would
probably
feel violated.
Yeah.
it's
I
yeah.
trust I trust I don't know. I trust him. We've gotten to I don't know if I ever want in his using days. I mean he was honest in his using days, but when the relapse he wasn't. But I feel like it's almost like someone's up to no good, you don't even want to look. Like if your man's cheating on you, you don't even want to go through his phone because you're gonna have a heartbreak looking through it.
Right.
Like that's how kind of I am. Like don't look. I don't even want to see it. So we don't do the look. I'm not big on. I don't. I believe where he is, and then we own the pressure washing biz. So he's at. I wouldn't be able to decipher any of that now.
Communication is everything. Being on the same page is
Like
everything.
my
Having that open
sister.
talk.
My sister, it's very important for her and her husband to share location, and that's them. They like that. That's their thing. But I don't know. She's even
Yeah,
tried to
I'm
share
not.
location with me, and I'm like, you can have it just in case something were to happen, like God forbid. But yeah.
Do you get a lot of help and support from your TikTok community when he relapsed? Like, did that help you inside?
I think talking out loud is what helped the most. And then
Yeah.
and then I do want to give credit to Brittany Jade. Brittany Jade, her talking about, if you guys are familiar with her, she's got millions of followers and it
Yeah.
became because of her recovery. And I found her with only a couple thousand followers. And we follow each other back. We're not besties, but I mean, that's my girl. She helped me so much. She promoted a Hope Dealer shirt. I sent her a blessed hoodie. But her being so open and about she was going through a divorce at the time. Like it was just so therapeutic for me. And then seeing the results of what me being open. And then I do have one more person. Her name's Motivated Mama on here, Jess Shock. She's a good friend of my sister's and she has almost 500,000 followers.
She was in here.
Good, because I told her to come. Or my
I saw
sister.
her in here.
She lost her baby at 5 months old, and they're coming on his birthday, and that was 6 years ago. And she talks about her grieving and her, and she sees results and people coming together, and I don't know, it's the camaraderie.
Yes,
of
it's
it.
a community. It's
And then,
you can lean on each other and build each other up.
And we're not even looking at the comments and stuff, but people are probably talking about it with each other in these comments. Like
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. Like I just started a Facebook 5 days ago to mimic this Sober Barbie. It's increased by a million percent. Like it's blowing up. My story's almost to a million in 4 days, and people I can't even keep up. So they're just having their own conversation, talking about recovery.
How hard is it for you to keep up with like your Facebook comments and your TikTok family?
I think I'm gonna have to take somebody on. Like
Are they
I
more
don't.
brutal on Facebook?
Well, the funny thing
I
is the reels are only 90 seconds, and I shared the first 90 seconds of my 4 minute story, and it was just the crazy part of me stabbing Brian, and people thought I was psycho, and I didn't realize it. And then I did a 2 and a 3, a part 2 and a 3, but that revved it up. Like people like to see tragedy and good.
What are you doing to help people? Because I know you talk to a lot of people. So what all are you actually involved in?
Okay, so seeing the results on TikTok have literally, like, we're all three of us right now, we're literally saving lives. Like, whether we like to think it or not, like, it's happening. Like, us talking about this, if I would have seen this 8 years ago, if I would have seen anybody telling their story, I would have stopped in my tracks. I swear to God, I would. It was someone's experience, strength, and hope that planted the seed in me to even want my cellmate. So, consistency is number one. In anything in life, I've succeeded by being consistent. And so I try to keeping things relevant, consistent, showing up.
Now I know that you're having an issue where you live that there's no detoxes it's like 2 hours away, correct?
Yes. So we did a 12th step about 75 days ago and helped a guy he was suicidal on TikTok Live or Facebook Live. I said, let me help you. Let me help you. So we got him. You can't detox here. You can't go to a hospital and say, I want to detox off drugs. You can't. It's impossible. There's one rehab you can pay a lot of money and they'll detox you there. But then I had to take him to Charleston, 2 hours away to the MUSC, and they took him in the psych ward and detoxed him there on a prayer. We drove 2 hours on a prayer. I had my sister watch my kids. We said, let's go. And then we had a local foundation pay his treatment, and that's 3 hours away. So took the prayer, went to the psych ward. They took him, detoxed him. Detoxing off methadone's we should do a whole thing on that.
I've been there.
Oh my God.
What? Some places don't do it, and it was just, and the rehab did
A
not
lot
want
of
him
red
on
tape,
methadone.
right?
They didn't want him on anything. And so they waited. Then we got the call. Bubba went, picked him up, took him to treatment, and he just celebrated 60 days.
That
And
makes me so
he
happy.
has a kid like that. The kid's getting his dad back. The mom called me the other day. I talked an hour to her. She's getting her kid back. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. He's gonna be an example for his brothers and his community. But I just am not shutting up. I reached out to our senator Tim Scott. He's actually running for president. He has a fend off fentanyl campaign. Who knew? He called me back. I missed his call. I need to call him back this week, but I've already talked to my sheriff's departments. We have 2 local ones. I reached out. We have town councils running right now. I emailed them practically what I just said, like how hard it is to get any of this help. Bottom line, if you want to change your life and there's no freaking option, you're gonna not do it.
Yep.
Like, you're gonna give up, and that's the problem. They're giving up.
One of the things is like 2 hours to find a detox place, and you can't do it in the hospital. So, like, even if you find a detox place, half of them around anywhere suck. Like, they're horrible places
And
that
the
are just.
state-run places, oh God.
Yeah. And that is something like I think Marie and I have talked about it a little bit. I want to open a detox center because I understand how things go.
That would be an amazing thing to do.
It would.
It would.
It's all money. Like that's
It is.
yeah.
And it's funny because these people have no freaking money.
Yeah.
It's very rare you still have insurance.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So I have good foundations in my back pocket. Helping my friend I spent 3 days on the phone trying, when he was in the psych ward, trying to find a better detox. Like, I was just trying to find options. No one was answering me. I was his only advocate. If it wasn't for Bubba and I, he wouldn't be alive.
That is a true
And that's
blessing.
just crazy to think, though. Like, what if we weren't here? Or there needs to be more.
I love the fact that you made that video where you were packing him a goodie basket to send to
Oh
him,
no.
because things like that, when you're stuck in a place like that, go a long way.
Letters are gold. Just send an I
Yep.
love you or hang in there. That's it. To see an envelope with your name on it is like gold.
Just seeing that somebody cares.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all the time we've got, guys.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you so much for coming on. It was definitely a lot of fun. We love all of our guests, but especially when they are nice and bubbly like you. It makes it all.
Absolutely.
The Barbie world.
See you
Bye.
guys.